welcome back to my channel Gabbabetic, and welcome to today's video. So today, as you can see from the title of the video, I am off to my very first type 1 diabetes conference. It's called Thriveabetes. It's up in Dublin. It's a type 1 diabetic conference set up and run by type 1 diabetics. It hasn't been on in a few years because of COVID, so this is the first year that it's back on and the first year that I've ever been to it or to anything like it. There's going to be lots going on at Thriveabetes, so there's going to be lots of different speakers, even YouTube speakers. There's going to be obviously people there with type 1 diabetes, also parents of children with type 1 diabetes. There's going to be lots of different exhibitors and stands of businesses related to type 1 and companies like Dexcom and Libra. Most importantly, it's just a great way to hear what's going on in the type 1 diabetes world and talk to fellow type 1 diabetics. I really hope you liked the video. I'm really excited to go. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we're going to go back to yesterday, which was when I travelled up to Dublin for the conference. So I'm just waiting for the bus, the Go bus, you can see on the sign there. It's a really nice day in Cork. Okay, here is the bus now actually, so we're gonna go ahead and get on. So here is the bus. So I'm really excited to go. Blood sugar is 5.6, which is really good because the thing I have the most about the bus is that it goes really high all the time, so I'm really hoping that doesn't. I have my packed lunch, Diet Coke. So when we get to Dublin, we'll have a look more at the schedule and see what is on for the conference. I'm gonna have my lunch now, so I have a gluten-free roll with a gluten-free chicken fillet in it, and my snack bar, and then my insulin is in here, and plenty of lift in case I go low, because the bus is 3.5 hours long and I do not want to go low. So I just got off the bus at Dublin Airport. And the bus took so long. Oh my god, it literally took like 4 hours, so I'm really glad to be off it. Blood sugar is 10. It seems to always go up to like 11 or 12 on the bus for some reason, so I'm really excited to be off. And we're going to go to my parents now, see their puppy. Hello, Terry. Are you excited to see me? Are you going in the Thriveabetes vlog? Are you Lana's cousin? Okay, so let's sit down, have a chat for a minute. So I'm in, well, my sister's room, but now my room because she's moved to New York. So I'm just going to call this my room while I'm here. So I'm here anyway, and I'm having the worst blood sugar ever because it's 15.9. And honestly, I don't know what it is. I've taken some insulin to try and bring it down, but I did just eat dinner as well. So I'm going to drink some water. I don't know what it is. It seems that whenever I go on the bus, I just have super high blood sugars or become like really insulin resistant, and I really don't know why, but that seems to be a trend. So hopefully it will come down before the night time because I don't want to be awake all night with high blood sugar. Anyway, I wanted to have a chat tonight before we go to Thriveabetes tomorrow. So here is a picture on the screen of the schedule. So basically it's a conference in Dublin. It's organised by type 1 diabetics for type 1 diabetics. So there's going to be, as you can see in the first part, there's going to be all different stands and kind of exhibitors. I think there's like Dexcom, Freestyle Libra, Medtronic, all different kind of things like that. I can't wait to see which stands and brands are actually there. It'll be really interesting. So for the first part, probably just be having a look around at the stands, and there's research posters as well, so see what kind of research is being done for type 1 diabetes. And then there's different talks throughout the day. You can see here, I'm not sure exactly who I want to go to. You can see the way it's broken down, like there's for parents if you are a parent of a type 1 child, there's for young adults, there's for adults. I'm going to go to obviously the adult talks, but then there's some later on after lunch, and really hoping there's a gluten-free lunch. There supposedly is, because as you know, a number of type 1 diabetic people are celiac and are either gluten-free or dairy-free sometimes as well, because that's just how it is with type 1 diabetes. So I hope they do have like allergy options like gluten-free. I really hope that I won't be starving tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Lunch should be okay. And then I see in the afternoon there's roundtable talks, so I'm guessing that's just kind of mini group discussions, but there's also speakers on at the same time. The one that's interesting to me is the diet athlete, because I do running myself as well. Now I'm not like running a marathon or anything, but it would be interesting to hear about that, so I might go to that one. And the one I'm really looking forward to is actually the one, I think he's the keynote speaker maybe, or the very last speaker anyway, is Diabetic. I'll put his link in the description to his YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. So he actually runs a YouTube channel and he talks to like the heads of these companies, say for example Medtronic, and he'll talk to them about new technology, new products that are coming along and how the advancements are being made in diabetes technology. He'll also review new things, like I think most recently he's reviewed Dexcom G7 and talk about things like that. So I'm looking forward to that, and also looking forward to meeting my type 1 diabetic friends from Cork that are coming up tomorrow as well, and seeing some new type 1 diabetic people and people that I've actually talked to on Instagram but haven't met in real life. It'll be really good to see them as well. So I am really looking forward to it. I just really hope that my blood sugar comes down. I hope it will be, but I'm gonna end day one of the vlog here of just travelling up to Dublin for Thriveabetes, and we'll start part 2 tomorrow in the morning when we're going to Thriveabetes, and I'll bring my camera and I'll show you all around, and hopefully you'll have a really good day. So this is the look for Thriveabetes. So I'm ready to go. I'm just packing my bag. Of course we're gonna need insulin, Dexcom. I'm bringing my 2 lifts and my actual blood sugar meter. It'll be really weird to actually go and see other diabetics now. I'm looking forward to seeing my friends. I've come up from Cork yesterday. Like I said, they came up on the bus and I stayed with my parents, so they're already there because it's at the hotel and they stayed there. So I'm gonna leave now. I think I'll get there with a bit of time to look at some of the posters and some of the stands, and then we'll go to the welcome intro speech, and then the first speaker, which I think is Stacey Sims. I'll link her in the description down below if you want to see that. I had the worst blood sugars last night. I think I was like so nervous. My blood sugars are like 12 all night. They kept going up and waking me every like 2 or 3 hours, so I don't feel very refreshed, but I hope I look okay for the conference. But I do feel a bit nervous. I don't even know why. Like, why is there to be nervous? I can literally leave if I want to, or like literally can do anything I want, go to whatever speech I want, talk to whoever I want, or not talk. So it's a bit weird, but I think it's just because like I've never been to anything like this before. So I'm gonna finish packing up and we're gonna go to Thriveabetes. So 9:15 a.m. check-in, view exhibitions and research posters. I actually didn't see any of the research posters. I think they were in a different location, but I could see from the program here it was things like foot disease, psychological, how to manage type 1 diabetes yourself, automated insulin delivery systems. So that would have been cool to see. I just didn't get a chance to see it. The exhibitions, so this was the way the stands were. They go in and they're kind of all around. There were some big names like Medtronic, Dexcom, Libra, and some of the brands that I don't know so much, which were mainly the pumps, like the Ipso brand, and also like the Tandem T-Slim and things like that. So it was interesting to go around and see the stands that I've never kind of seen before, and then also to talk to the people from like Dexcom, get the free merch, get some information on things like the G7 and different things like that, and see the different stalls. There were stalls like Diabetes Ireland and also Women's Health with diabetes, different things like that. So it's nice to be able to come in, you can get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, walk around, see the different stands and see what's going on in the type 1 diabetes world.
So we are a team effort.
10:15 a.m. welcome and introductions. So this was just giving a brief overview of what is Thriveabetes, which is, as I said, a conference for people with type 1 diabetes run by people with type 1 diabetes. And even in the welcome message you could see that it's basically to bring people together with diabetes who have this lifelong condition so that nobody feels alone and can have support from their peers, and so that people can meet, you know, other diabetics in their area and join a diabetes tribe as such, and just have a better quality of life with type 1 diabetes. So this was Grania Flynn, who was just giving the intro into Thriveabetes, as she is one of the founders of Thriveabetes. So just giving a little bit of info about what was to be expected for the day. So then we had Diabetes Connections with Stacey Sims.
If you cannot hear me, just, wave in the back, but I think we're good to go. Excellent, and I'm so excited to be, which is a weekly news, information, inspiration. T1D exchange. I'm obviously going to skip G-Doc and Diabetes in Ireland now because
So Stacey's book, Our World's Worst Diabetes Mother and Still the World's Worst Diabetes Mother, and she was very, very funny. Definitely check out these people's Instagrams and YouTubes. She is sharing her experience as being a parent of a son with type 1 diabetes and how that changed her life, but mainly the focus was on making connections within diabetes, because that really improves your life and her son's life. And she's just very funny. It was very personal. She gave funny stories and she just said like how it changed their life from like when he was first diagnosed, age 2, he's now 18. And I think she went on later in the day to talk about independence as a young person with type 1 diabetes. I didn't go to that obviously because I'm not a young person anymore with type 1 diabetes, so I didn't hear any of that, but apparently it would have been really good. There was lots about, you know, going off and being independent on your own with type 1 diabetes, not letting it stop you in any way. So it was a lot of that kind of thing. And then I really enjoyed, so from 11:30 to 12:20 was getting the most from your clinic appointment with Dr. Kevin Moore. So as you can see, he was actually very down to earth and very funny. And like first of all, he doesn't care about HbA1c. He wants to know that your time in range is good and that your quality of life is good. And he wants you to have a realistic approach to your diabetes, not treat like your diabetes life and your own life as separate things. They need to mesh together. Like, you can't be saying, oh, I'm having a really stressful time at work and I just forget about my diabetes completely. He wants you to have just a kind of well-rounded approach to diabetes, but I'm not phrasing it as good as he said it. He said it in a really good way, and he was very realistic and down to earth, showing the latest data from his own clinic, how people are getting on with CGMs, showing that it's giving such a more well-rounded view of a real day of a person with diabetes. And I thought one thing was really interesting that he said was he learns from his patients, so he's not type 1, and if someone comes and tells him, you know, something about a particular pump that's really good, he can go and pass on that information. Sharing knowledge with type 1 diabetes is key, even from a patient to doctor. And he said as well, don't be afraid to challenge like your doctor. You know, you don't have to agree with them just because you're the doctor, but you also should, you know, listen to a bit what they're saying, see if you can relate, but don't be afraid, you know, if you want a pump, to go there and tell them why and be prepared with your reasons and why it can benefit your life, that kind of thing. So we had lunch then, and they had finally gluten-free stuff. They had so many gluten-free sandwiches. So I had like, one was okay on white bread. It was like ham and onion and lettuce, that kind of thing. Good, but not amazing. But the other one was brown bread, and I think it had like mozzarella and tomato. Picked out the olives because I don't like them. But that was really, really tasty, and it's just good to have gluten-free. I was really worried there wouldn't be anything gluten-free, but it was in its own area. So they even said that at the start of the conference, that it would be in its own part to prevent cross-contamination. And also I met so many people that were celiac as well, so that was a really good bonding experience, because as you know, if you're type 1 diabetic, and you can have a higher risk of being celiac, vice versa. So there was actually so many celiacs there, so that was really good to meet a few more celiac people. So after lunch there was the round table discussions, and said there's different topics there. Just by chance we actually sat at the female diabetes related health issues, and there was 2 women in charge of a women's health task force, which I'd never heard of, and it was kind of a, you know, a feedback and discussion group. They just wanted to know like what kind of experience as a female do you have with type 1 diabetes, things like menopause, pregnancy, periods, anything like that. And honestly, like, the consensus was there's not a lot of information around these female issues with type 1 diabetes. Like, personally, you don't go to your consultant and talk about things like that. And I think that was the general consensus of the women there. It wasn't like there was information on it. It was kind of they were getting information and they're going to feed that back so that hopefully more can be done for women's health and type 1 diabetes. And from denial to diet athlete, a journey involving marathons, travel and pumps in the League of Diabetes. But he was such a good speaker. He said he was diagnosed when he was young and he was on MDI like me, and he'd been on MDI his whole life and just cruising along like that, and he'd have lots of, you know, issues with type 1 diabetes, not letting it get in the way of his dreams. So he actually went on to run loads of marathons, as you see on this slide. He did it first with just finger pricks and then with a CGM as well. But it's just incredible to see that he had that drive to not let type 1 diabetes stop him. He said himself that he did have a chip on his shoulder when he first started. You know, he wanted to prove to people that diabetes wasn't going to stop him. But after he did his first marathon, I think he said he didn't have anything to prove then. He just liked it and wanted to keep going. And the fact that he could do it on injections and without a CGM is incredible. And then having the CGM helped as well. And he said that he actually found a lot of community of people as the years went on. You know, he'd have people volunteer to come to his marathon and have like a finger pricker at one stop and insulin at the next stop and things like that. Just random people in the community with type 1. So it started to develop a network, and I think that's how the League of Diabetes, which is the charity that is set up from Diet Athlete, came about. So yeah, that was a really interesting talk, especially being someone who's interested in running. Like, I'm not running a marathon, but maybe one day, but he is on a pump now, and he said it was like going from like somewhere being really comfortable on pens to just putting yourself out there and pushing for it and trying something new after being comfortable for so long. I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. Like, maybe I'll consider a pump now that I'm learning so much about pumps, and obviously with the hybrid looping systems, they seem a lot better, and it feels like that's where the future is. But it was good to see his perspective, having been on MDI. So I really enjoyed that talk. That was actually really, really good. And then the last talk of the day, diabetes technology, PEMS, pumps, sensor and apps with Camille. So if you watch my channel, you might know Camille's channel, which is Thriveabetic, where he reviews up to date the newest like diabetes technology, pumps, CGMs, apps. And he also talks, with the brands like Dexcom and Medtronic about new releases that are coming out and where the future is for this tech. So it was really fun. So he went through all of the different CGMs that are available in Ireland and the differences between them. Then we talked about insulin pumps, and it was really interesting for me to hear about insulin pumps because I just never had this information before. Like, I just saw an insulin pump as this block attached to you that you had to do everything anyway, the same as you would for a pen. Like, you still had to tell it what to do. It was, to me, the same as injecting. But seeing where things are going with closed hybrid loop systems is really encouraging for the future. So it's getting me more thinking about how I want to manage my type 1 diabetes. Like, my diabetes management to me is good, but I have really rough days where like having highs all night, and if a pump could fix that for me, that's worth so much. So I'm just starting to think about it from other people's experience. And I think that was one thing he was saying was, here's a list of questions you should definitely talk to someone who uses Dexcom or uses Medtronic or uses Tandem T-Slim before you go and make your case to get your pump, because you want to hear what's the good, what's the bad, what would be the one thing they would change if they could, that kind of thing. I thought that was really good advice. And we talked about the different apps and the apps that are available to help people's quality of life that are developed by type 1 diabetics too. So, they are legit. And then we had a little quiz at the end, which was really fun. So we had some really fun questions in there and answers. And he just had a really good personality and lots of information to say about type 1 diabetes. He's really knowledgeable and does his research. And he's also just a really funny person as well. So definitely watch his YouTube channel, Thriveabetic. I'll link that down below if you haven't seen that. And finally, the final thoughts of the evening. So this was just a recap over the day. And so thanks to everyone who volunteered and worked there. And also to everyone who came out. And all the type 1 diabetics there. And I meant to say earlier, I got this wristband, so it says Thriveabetes, and on it, if it's blue, you're type 1, and that's why there's blue and yellow. If it's yellow, you're a parent of type 1, and if you've blue and yellow, you're a type 1 person and a parent of type 1. Just have a chat about the day. So I have the Thriveabetes brochure here. I thought it was really, really good. I hope you enjoyed seeing the clips and me talking a bit about each of the speakers. I think the best part was getting to meet other people with, there's two parts. I think the best part was getting to meet people with type 1 diabetes and just hearing all their different experiences. It's really interesting to hear like who's using a Dexcom, who's using a pump, who's still using pens, that kind of thing. Also seeing my friends come up from Cork as well, who are all type 1 diabetic, and chatting with them. And yeah, just hearing the different speakers, chatting with people, getting the free merch like this Dexcom pen and this gluten-free cookie. Small things like that are fun as well. But the best part, was just seeing all the different things that's going on in the type 1 diabetes world. I feel like things have really changed in the last few years. Like the technological advancements are huge compared to what they were before that. So things are definitely getting more innovative and better for people's quality of life with type 1. I really, really enjoyed Thriveabetes, and it's on next year. Apparently October 2024, hasn't been officially announced yet, but that's what was said today. So I will definitely go to it again. It was really good as well. Teddy! Oh, we have a visitor here. He's going to sit with me for a minute. Teddy, come here. So it's on in October 2024, and if you can go, definitely do. I'll be there. Okay, Teddy is gone. So that was a nice visit by Teddy, but he's gone now. So it was really good to see people that I've met on Instagram and on Facebook and stuff in real life, or people that I've talked to through my YouTube channel in real life. Actually have a discussion with them and just see them as a real person is kind of cool. Oh yeah, Teddy's gone. So Thriveabetes is on next October 2024, hopefully. definitely go if you can, if you're in Ireland or whatever country you're in. If there's something like that, do it. Or if there's a type 1 group that you can meet up with, it's so good, honestly. It's better than any hospital appointment, I think, because you can actually just rant and talk about real life and also learn from other people's experience. So yeah, it was a really great day. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I am very tired now, so I'm going to relax. One note, my blood sugars for today were absolutely terrible. Like, go to a diabetes conference, have the worst blood sugars ever, literally so ironic. But it took to 17 at one point, and then they went down. They've kind of, like, I think it's at 11 now, so just coasting there for the day. I don't know why. When I travel on the bus, I just go crazy high for some reason, and it seems to just follow on the next day, but also probably the excitement from the conference. So yeah, that's just a little update on my blood sugars for today, which were not so good. But so yeah, I'm gonna relax now. I won't have my cookie because, as I said earlier, I'm trying to bring down my blood sugars a bit. So I just had dinner. They're at like 11 or 12, so hopefully they'll come down. Maybe I'll be able to have something nice later. That would be good. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you all in the next video.